Welcome to this training video for data analysts on gender mainstreaming in labour statistics. It covers what is meant by gender mainstreaming, how this can be achieved, and the practical things that data analysts can do to integrate a gender perspective into their work. Did you know that of all people employed in the world, 40% are women? This share has not changed over the last 10 years. Compared with men, women in paid work are still more likely to be engaged in informal employment and in jobs characterised by low pay and limited involvement in decision making. Women are more likely than men to be carrying out unpaid work to raise children and manage the home, rather than doing work for pay or profit. In many places, a lack of infrastructure and limited access to time-saving technologies makes housework labour-intensive, and there is little time for anything else. These are examples of gender issues that should be monitored through labour statistics and analysis. There are many other gender disparities and issues to explore. Gender mainstreaming in labour statistics involves understanding what the issues are and ensuring the statistics accurately measure and inform. In general, gender mainstreaming is the process of thinking about the impact on women and men, girls and boys, of any policy or program and ensuring the design and implementation addresses their varying needs. It is a widely used strategy for making sure that women's and men's differing experiences and concerns are taken into account at every step of the policy design, implementation and monitoring process. Gender mainstreaming occurs in many different ways. It involves establishing gender-related goals as part of the National Development Plan. In the context of the Decent Work Agenda, gender mainstreaming aims to achieve gender equality and the elimination of discrimination in the world of work. It also involves raising awareness of labour statisticians and data analysts so they understand the gender-related issues in the world of work and the equality goals to be achieved. National statistical planning and implementation, including the development of national strategies for the development of statistics, statistical data collection plans, and the production of labour statistics and indicators, are all essential to monitor gender-based policies and plans in the world of work, such as employment policies and decent work country programs. In the realm of labour statistics, gender mainstreaming includes the measurement and monitoring of decent work through the Decent Work Measurement Framework that includes both statistical and legal framework indicators. In this framework, equal opportunity and treatment in employment is a specific dimension with a selected set of indicators. The framework proposes the disaggregation of statistical indicators by sex wherever possible in order to allow the monitoring of gender gaps. Another example of gender mainstreaming in labour statistics is the production of gender-sensitive labour indicators of the post-2015 development agenda, which are to be monitored by countries at all levels of development. Data analysts play a critical role in calculating gender-sensitive and sex-disaggregated decent work indicators and analysing the changes over time within the national context. Production of the indicators will allow policymakers to monitor the progress made towards decent work for all, including strategies on discrimination and gender equality in the world of work. Gender mainstreaming may include creating mechanisms, such as focal points and committees that ensure gender concerns are integral to the work of all programs in official labour statistics. Data analysts contribute to gender mainstreaming in labour statistics by bringing a gender perspective to their work and producing gender-sensitive labour indicators and analysis for informed decision-making. The topic is relevant to different sources of statistics used by data analysts, including labour force surveys, time use surveys, employment-related establishment surveys, agricultural surveys, and various administrative records, for example those that may be used to produce social protection statistics. To promote the coherence of labour statistics across domains within a national statistical system, and also to enhance data comparability across countries, national statistical systems implement the standards adopted by the International Conference of Labour Statisticians, or ICLS. The standards cover a range of topics which are important for measuring gender equality in official statistics, including informal employment, work statistics, both paid and unpaid forms of work, wages, working time, and classification of occupations, among others. Data analysts responsible for gender-sensitive labour analysis should become familiar with a broad range of ICLS standards and related guidance. In 2003, the 17th ICLS adopted a checklist of good practices for mainstreaming gender in labour statistics. These guidelines call on national statistical systems to take action to build political will, identify data needs and gaps, align national practices with international standards, and improve dissemination and communication of gender-sensitive labour statistics. Data analysts should familiarise themselves with the ICLS checklist and make efforts to follow the guidelines in their work wherever possible. So how can analysts of labour statistics integrate gender mainstreaming into their work? Gender-sensitive analysis involves three main components: producing a set of relevant and timely sex disaggregated indicators and gender-sensitive indicators, understanding of the current gender issues in the world of work, and analysis of the indicators that takes into account the key gender issues. Let's look briefly at each in turn. This graph illustrates the importance of disaggregating data to reveal gender disparities not only by sex but also by other characteristics. Here we see the absence rate of men and women in Sweden, which is the percentage of hours actually worked that the person was absent from work, by their reason. We can see that women were more often absent than men, especially when it came to needing to take care of children. If, instead of showing all women and men, we only look at those with children under the age of 7 years, the gender gap is significantly higher, indicating that women are much more likely than men to take time off from work to care for children. Other important disaggregations that data analysts should consider when doing gender analysis are personal characteristics, such as age and education level, family context, such as the number of children or persons requiring care, social context, such as ethnicity or low household income, which may put up barriers to work, job characteristics, such as occupation, industry, status in employment, and institutional sector, and by employer context, such as the number of employees. The next component data analysts need to mainstream gender in labour statistics is an understanding of gender issues in the world of work. This involves searching out and synthesising the core gender issues that exist in the country or geographic areas you are focusing on. A good source of information on gender issues are national development plans, gender strategies, and reports on national commitments to gender equality, such as the Beijing Platform for Action, the Convention for the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW, and the post-2015 Sustainable Development Goals. When it comes to work, gender issues usually fall into one of four areas: how women and men balance work and life, including family and childcare; unacknowledged or hidden forms of work, such as unpaid household work or informal employment; labour market segregation, with some fields like science and information technology being male-dominated, and certain occupations like nursing, which tends to be female-dominated. Finally, there are usually differences in the level of income earned between women and men, even after controlling for factors such as education levels, occupation, or age group. Data analysts are encouraged to bring an objective understanding of gender issues in the world of work and gender-sensitive and sex-disaggregated data together whenever performing analysis. A practical guide has been published by the ILO to help analysts to be able to do this. Women in Labour Markets, Measuring Progress and Identifying Challenges, published in 2010 by the ILO, as well as the more recent Women at Work Trends 2016, provide examples of gender analysis and guide analysts on the types of questions they should ask to produce gender-sensitive analysis regarding labour markets. For example, when it comes to labour force participation, what are the differences between women and men? How is this changing over time and in what ways? What are the factors that drive labour force participation? And how does participation vary by age and number and age of children? Let's look at some global results. The female labour force participation rate was rising steadily in the latter part of the 20th century and peaked in 1995 at 52.4%. It since fell by almost 3 percentage points by 2015. Breaking the labour force participation rate down by age group, the reason for the change is more evident. As these data show, between 1980 and 2008, it is the declining participation of women aged 15 to 24 that is responsible for much of the fall in the overall participation rate of women. Combining this with data on education shows that improved opportunities for secondary and tertiary education has been a major factor in reducing women's labour force participation. In addition to the ILO publications, other resources to assist data analysts to mainstream gender in their work are guides to gender statistics produced by the United Nations. The demand for gender-sensitive data related to the world of work is high, and data analysts play a key role in producing information to meet the demand. Data analysts need an understanding of gender issues, knowledge of ICLS standards, including the guidelines on gender mainstreaming in labour statistics, and support from senior managers to mainstream gender into labour statistics and analysis. The benefits will be better quality information to meet the data needs of policy and decision makers working on national development and gender-related goals. This video has provided a brief overview of how data analysts can mainstream gender in the production of labour statistics. It is part of a set of training materials that includes other videos, such as one on gender mainstreaming for senior managers of labour statistics. To access the materials and further information, visit the ILO website at www.ilo.org/stat.